All right, so I figured while I'm sitting here waiting for the burrowing owl to come back out, if you watch my other video, you know that I'm out here photographing burrowing owls in this open field in the desert. And they got a little scared, so now they're down the burrow, not willing to come up, probably for any time soon. So I thought while I was here, I'd talk a little bit about the different autofocus modes, at least the ones that are on the Canon camera. And we have three different ones. You have the one shot, you have the AI servo, which I assume is artificial intelligence servo, and then you have the AI focus. And so the way Canon has them arranged is that the one shot is basically if the camera is not moving and the subject is not moving, it's going to focus, and it's going to be a solid focus. In other words, it's not going to move at all. It's going to focus on something, and then once it beeps, it's going to stay there until you press the button again. So let me get to that. Now, there are a couple different ways to do that. You can do it from the top. We have a drive AF button here that you can press, and you can adjust through the different autofocus settings from your little data panel up here. The 7D Mark II has it on the back here, which we push our Q button, and we rotate our joystick down to the AI servo or whatever you happen to be set on. So the autofocus operations. And so, like I said, the first one is one shot. So what that means is that as I'm looking through and I focus on something and I press my button halfway down, you heard that beep, and that beep tells me that now it can take a picture. So now that it beeped, I can take as many pictures as I want. So if I move it someplace else, I have to push the button again, halfway down, and then I can shoot again. Now, on my camera, I have back button focus, which I'll talk about another time. But most of the time, you'd be pressing the button right here, halfway down, to get it to focus. Now, the nice thing about this is that you can recompose the picture. So I can focus on something, and then I can move the picture here and recompose whatever it is. So like if you have somebody that you want to photograph and you have them in the middle of the picture, you can focus on them, and then you can frame it up so that they're off to the right or left side of that picture. Now, the next one that Canon has is in the order that it is. Oops, let me get to that position. So the next one is the AI focus that Canon has. And the focus is sort of Canon's way of helping you out, going from two different ones. Now, the AI servo continuously focuses, and the one shot focuses one time and then it's ready. So the AI focus allows you to track something. So like if I have this burrowing now that's flying, I can track it, and then once it lands and it stops and my camera stops moving, then it's going to do a one-shot focus on it where I have to, press the button again to get it to work. So this one too, when you're focusing on something, you can hear that it beeps also. So as I focus on different areas, it starts to beep. Now once it locks on focus, as I track something, it's going to stay at that plane, and once the camera starts moving, it feels that the stabilization feels that it's moving. It's going to go to AI servo, and it's going to automatically focus in and out continuously and try to track that subject. Now, generally, your tracking is wherever you have your focus squares set on, and whatever pattern you have your focus squares set on. So if you have it in a group, it's going to try and focus on something that's in that group while it's moving. If you have it on just a single point, it will only focus on that single point and adjust the focus back and forth. So I don't use that one too much because a lot of times it doesn't quite work as well as it should, and so it's not a reliable system for focusing. Now the last one is AI servo, and I'll move to that one now. So the AI servo, when I press it halfway down, you'll see that there's no binging, because what's happening is as I move this camera around, it's continuously focusing in and out and focusing on whatever those squares land on. So as my focusing squares hit something further away, it focuses on that. As it hits something that's closer, it focuses on that. So the AI servo I use most of the time for what I shoot, because the things are moving, and like especially birds in flight. And as long as I continuously hold my button halfway down, it's going to continue to focus. Now, The advantage of having back button focus is the fact that when you have the focusing on the front here, as you're holding it down halfway, the minute you press it all the way down, it will continue to focus too, and it will disengage sometime. So it sort of doesn't work 100% all the time. Whereas back button focus, as long as I have it pressed, it's going to continue to focus. Then the minute I let go of it, it stops focusing on whatever that area is. So if I'm watching a bird flying in, it's going to come flying in. I can have it on servo focus, and it's going to focus and continue to focus on that bird and anticipate where it's going to go and keep it in focus, or do its best job as it can to keep it in focus. And then once that bird lands, I let go of the button, and now it becomes one shot focus. So a single shot focus. So you get the best of both worlds by having back button focus and setting it up on AI servo. But if you keep the button on the front there, AI servo, as long as you press the button halfway down, will continue to focus. Once you press the button all the way down, it will still continue to focus. It'll do its best. As you have, rapid fire, it will continue to focus and try to adjust. Now I found, because I photographed remote control airplanes, and they fly in one direction. They come across the sky, and they're pretty much the same, is that the servo is, generally it will track it really well, and I found it with this camera, it's about every third one is just absolutely tack sharp, and then two, and then about a third one, and not consistently always that way. Sometimes it'll hit like 2 or 3 in a row, but a lot of times it just seems like it hones in about every third shot. It just nails it. So if you're shooting bursts of 3 or 4, generally you'll get at least one shot that's going to be tack sharp on that. So that's generally how I do it. I press the button and hit it. Sometimes I get all excited and I'll just hold the button down, it'll continuously focus, as the whole thing is flying. But the best is 3 or 4 shots at a time, let go, refocus, and then have it track. But out of those 4, you're almost guaranteed to have one of them tack sharp. So that's a little bit about the focusing system in the Canon, or the 3 different settings that we have for focusing on the Canon camera. Now I'm sure I don't own a Nikon, so I can't say for sure, but I'm almost positive that Nikon has the same thing. But those are the 3 autofocus operations for the Canon, and hopefully that helped you out. And hopefully sometime soon these burrowing owls are going to realize I chased that hawk off, and will eventually come back out, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you appreciate this information, please do subscribe. That helps out the channel quite a bit. Give the video a like. If you give it a thumbs down, please let me know what I did wrong, what you didn't like about it. I always look forward to any type of conversation below, so if you have any questions, please do leave them below, because I always answer all the questions as best as I can. Thanks for tuning in.